Welcome back to Ask the Expert. Today, I'm joined by Jaimie Beebe, creator, host, casting director, and entrepreneur behind several media ventures, including the Last Trip podcast, Strictly Stalking Podcast, and the Boyfriend Bikiini, based all the way in Los Angeles. Welcome to the show, Jaimie. It's such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad to be here.
So, Jaimie, let's dive right in. Tell us about your background. What brought you into the world of media, podcasting, and entrepreneurship?
I just was one of those kids that never really wanted to know what I wanted to do. I wanted to do everything. And so I kind of did everything for a long time. And then when I got to LA, I actually have a master's in music management. So I thought I was going to manage all these bands and everything. I tried it for about a minute, hated it. It's like glorified babysitting. It's not for me. And then I got an opportunity to dive into production, commercials, film, things like that. And I took it without knowing anything about being on set or anything. I used Google for most of it and kind of learned as I went along. And I kind of learned every job. I loved casting. That was kind of my favorite part of it. So I started doing casting when I stopped doing all the other jobs. I just focused on casting, and that did well. I loved it. And then COVID came, and the film industry kind of shut down. So that's when I jumped into podcasts, because I love true crime and I listen to podcasts all day and I didn't have much else to do. So I started a podcast, a true crime podcast called Strictly Stalking. And it's where we interview victims of stalkers. And it took off. It did really well. It's a great podcast. So a couple years later, I decided to do it again. So now I have two podcasts. The second one is called The Last Trip. And I love true crime, but I also love traveling. So it kind of melts the two together. It's people who have gone missing or gotten murdered on vacation. So that's the second one. And in the meantime, while I was traveling, I realized that I like to travel to warm tropical places mostly. And I always buy bikinis wherever I go. And so I decided it was time to start my own bikini company. So I did that. So that's kind of where I'm at now.
Well, yeah. And for anybody who hasn't listened to her podcast, you've got to check them out. I mean, The Last Trip was really fun. I checked it out before you came on the show. I really wanted to make sure I dove in. And I couldn't fall asleep. I usually listen to podcasts at night before bed. I couldn't fall asleep because I was too into the story to really, settle into it. Usually podcasts are somewhat, how do I put this? Boring, right? Depending on the genre, depending on what you're into and everything else. But I didn't want to fall asleep, so I listened to the whole thing. So tell me, what's unique about the work that you do with guests, listeners, and collaborators?
Well, with Strictly Stalking, when I started that podcast, and I have a co-host as well in that one. When I started that one, I really didn't know much about podcasting. I just listened to a lot of them. So I was like, oh, I can do that. There's so much more work involved than I ever thought to do it. But for that one, we weren't sure what we wanted to do. A lot of podcasts talk about murder, and it's kind of salacious. It's a little bit overdone sometimes. So through deductive reasoning, I guess, we realized there's really not much about stalking, which is it's a horrific crime that just doesn't get talked about enough. People, it's not something you hear about it like, oh, Kim Kardashian is being stalked or whatever. But, it's something that needed more awareness. So we started doing that. And the best way to do it is to listen to people's firsthand accounts of stories. So we started interviewing people. And then, true to my roots, I guess, I went back to like the murdered and missing, but decided to go with people that are on vacation, murdered and missing, because I travel so much. So it kind of melted in with my life a little bit better.
Wow, fantastic, Jaimie. It's such a pleasure to have you on, my friend. To learn more about Jaimie Beebe, her podcasts, and her fashion line, and all of the good things, visit dailynewsnetwork.com.